Hey everyone, so I am back with another video, and today I am going to be doing the perfect palette tag, which is basically just a tag about all of my eyeshadow palettes. There's a number of questions like most used palette, your biggest regret palette, so I'll kind of take you through each of those and show you my choices. So let's get started. So for best packaging, I picked this Too Faced Shadow Bonbons palette. Now for some reason when I hold this up, as you can see, I go orange, and when I take it away, I go back to my nice light color. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but stick with me. This was a limited edition palette. I actually won it in a contest, a fashion contest I entered last year. What I really like about the packaging is just it's so girly, it's cute. It actually is really like Valentine's Day-ish to me. It's this really nice lilac color, and then it has the gold writing and sort of this embroidered pattern to it. It actually is a really velvety feeling box, which does attract quite a bit of dirt, but I still like it. And then when you open it inside, you have this really nice big mirror here that's sort of a fancier shape, and then here are all the eyeshadows that are supposed to look like candy or bonbons. It's supposed to be kind of like a candy box, and of course all the shades are super pretty. There's a lot of nice looking palettes that I have, obviously. That kind of is what draws me to the palettes, not even just the shadows, but packaging is a big thing, but this would definitely be my favorite. So it was really hard to pick best color payoff because honestly the large majority of my palettes have really good color payoff. I have like the Naked palette, the Lorac Pro palette, some Smashbox palettes are really good coloring. I mean, I wouldn't buy them if they weren't, or if I did get them and they didn't have a good payoff, I probably would have returned them. But I tried to think of what sort of the best color payoff would be. This is a palette that has insane pigmentation to it. Unfortunately, it's another limited edition palette, but it is the Laura Mercier Original Artist palette. It's just a really nice neutral. On the bottom there's mattes, on the top there's more sort of shimmery or satin shades. I love this palette. I haven't used it in a while. I have so many palettes I kind of forget about them and I get stuck on one thing for a little bit. But in terms of color payoff, I would definitely say that this one is the best. When it comes to most versatile, this is another one that was really hard to choose because I would say that a lot of my neutral palettes are very versatile, but the one that I picked is the Lorac Pro palette, and you can see mine has been well loved. It is super dirty. I've hit pan on a number of shades. Why I picked this one in terms of most versatile is because it is neutral, but it does have a few colors. There's sort of like the copper shades, there's a little bit of purple in it, and it has both mattes and shimmery shades. So the bottom section is all mattes and the top is all shimmer. I use this on a very regular basis. I just think it's probably the most versatile out of all of my palettes. This would make a really great travel palette, which is another question that's coming up, but I did pick something entirely different for that. But this is one that I would definitely say if you don't have it and you've been thinking about it for a long time, it's well worth the money. I do love my Naked palettes, but I have to say if I had to pick between the Lorac Pro and any of the Naked palettes, I would definitely pick this one. So on to best travel palettes. Like I said, the Lorac Pro would really be one that I would take with me. It's quite light, it's quite thin, and it has all those colors. But rather than showing you the same palette twice, I picked out another one that I thought, or actually another two that I thought would be really good for a shorter trip, let's say like a weekend getaway, where you don't sort of need so many shadows to do a variety of looks. So the first one that I picked out is the Naked Basics palette from Urban Decay. Very neutral, everything is matte except for this first shade that's more of a satin. This is really just great for doing a bunch of neutral eye looks. If I'm going away for a weekend, you know, I don't need to have a purple eye and then a blue eye and a green eye. Sticking with something like this is perfect for me. It's really lightweight, super small, and in terms of pigmentation, it's awesome. Next, for the travel category, I also picked a new one from Clinique, and this is their Neutral Territory 2 palette. Sort of similar to the Naked Basics, except those were all matte and these are all quite shimmery. And just rather than the 5 colors, this has 8, but again, just a really nice palette. These are really nicely pigmented. I actually brought this one with me on my vacation to Florida recently and quite liked all of the looks that I could do with it. Now this is the category that I really like seeing the most in other people's videos. I don't know, I just find it interesting, you know, what sort of palettes and things people regret buying. And for me, it would be the Urban Decay. Oh, it is smudgy. Look at those fingerprints. I don't even use it. Urban Decay 15th Anniversary palette, I believe what it was. This was sort of when I was really getting into makeup a few years ago, and it was just one of those products that everybody was talking about and everybody was getting, and I just sort of had to have it. I didn't really pay that much attention in terms of what the colors were and the fact that I probably wouldn't use most of the colors. So this is what it looks like, and I mean, it is gorgeous, super great pigmentation, a ton of colors. I'm just trying to hold it so you can see. The thing is, I tend to be a neutral girl, and it's not on a regular basis that I am going to wear a super hot pink shadow or a really bright blue or a deep green. So for me, I really don't get any use out of this thing. I think it was quite expensive, and it's one that I probably haven't touched more than, I'd say, like 5 times, and that might be pushing it. So definitely learned my lesson with that I don't always have to jump on what everybody else is getting, jump on the bandwagon. I need to pay a little bit more attention, do a little bit more research into it, sort of swatch things, I guess, before I go and order them or go and buy them, and sort of know all the details before I make my decision. So for best shadow names, I did think about the Urban Decay shadows. They're kind of racy, kind of funny, but I went with a new limited edition palette that came out this past holiday season, and it is the Kat Von D Spellbinding eyeshadow book. I know I'm blinding you with that filter. I'm just holding it because it has all the names. It has names like Instaglam, which I like because I like to go on Instagram. Stupid autocorrect. It has Oddfellow, Cry Later. I don't know, I just think they're kind of fun, and I really like this palette. I know I just showed you the Urban Decay one, which I'm not so into because of the colors. This was sent to me and I did do a review on it, but I would say that if I was going to do a really colorful look, I would go for this over the Urban Decay one, because I just find the shadows in this one so beautifully pigmented. I had never tried a Kat Von D shadow before this palette, and I am impressed. I'm definitely going to be checking out some of her more neutral palettes. So for least used palettes, I didn't necessarily pick out a palette I don't like. These are just palettes that I kind of forget about. They're in the back of my drawer and just not things that I usually would think to reach for first. And they are the Too Faced little mini palettes. So I have the Matte Eye, I have the Smoky Eye, and then the Romantic Eye, and they all have 9 shades of them. There's 3 of the sort of larger ones and then 6 little ones. They're really nice eyeshadows. They're super pigmented, they go on smoothly, they're creamy, there's not a ton of fallout to them, a lot of really nice colors. I honestly just think I have too many palettes, which is bad to say because I just recently ordered that huge NARS eyeshadow palette with the 15 shades, and I'm going to the States this weekend to do some more makeup shopping, so not the greatest video to do before. But yeah, like I said, I really like them. I just don't reach for them that often. I guess with the smoky one, I do smoky eyes quite a bit, but I tend to do that with more of like a brown smoky look. And this has like a lot of sort of the blue and gray tones to it. The matte one, I did use quite a bit when I first got it because I really prefer a matte shadow. But again, I just sort of forgot about this one and went by the wayside. So for the most used, most loved sort of holy grail palette, Lorac Pro would probably be my ultimate sort of holy grail product, but I figured since I already showed that, I would kind of turn this question into more of a now at the moment, what are my go-to palettes, my favorite, and so I have 2 of them. The first is probably going to be a lot of people's favorites, kind of obvious. It is the Naked 3. I mentioned this in my favorites video. I just love all the rose gold hues. It's just really nicely pigmented. The packaging is absolutely gorgeous on this one. And then a brand new one that I got just I think like last week is from Smashbox, and it's their Full Exposure palette, and I am flippin' in love with this thing. I am obsessed. This is definitely going to be in my next favorites video. This is becoming a holy grail palette after only like a week and a little bit. So there it is, and oh, it's just like stunning. That was very Oprah weird of me. So on the bottom here, which looks like the top to you, is all mattes. Again, it's a neutral palette. What else is new? I pretty much go for all of the neutral palettes. And on the top are these really, really shimmery, really, really glittery shades. And I'm not usually someone who does a lot of glitter or shimmer, or I didn't used to be. I've been getting really into it since this last holiday season. These have a buttload of fallout to them, but they just look amazing if you pack them on. I've actually been spraying my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus or a little bit of like a setting spray and then going into them, and they're just like, oh, I love them. They're so pretty. I'm not wearing it today, of course, but this is one palette that if you've been looking for a new neutral palette, I would highly recommend. So that is it for my perfect palette tag. If you did this video, be sure to leave me the link. I love seeing what other people have in terms of their favorite palettes because it might give me ideas on more things to buy. Or leave me a comment below letting me know if you've tried any of these palettes, if you really want to try any of these palettes, if there are any palettes you think I missed out on, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!